Hello, everyone. I am going to be talking about current events as I usually like to do. And I'm, I'm also going to be addressing a few things that I sort of wish would resonate with people as they listen to not just Joe Biden speaking, but including Joe Biden and especially Joe Biden, because he reminded us a few times in his speech today that because of his authority, he can get certain things done and he can make things impossible, but he can also be your best friend. He likes to bribe. People like to say, like, oh, Joe, he's the friend. He's a teddy bear. He's the friend. He's my friend Joe. I don't it that doesn't sit well with me because like if that's what I wanted to do, I would have just like stayed married to somebody that could have potentially ended up being like some kind of like cartel leader for all I knew um because of his background and I could have been wrong too. I don't know. I mean nobody knows. Nobody like I didn't have a crystal ball to see what was going to happen. I just thought I would rather know what he's going to be doing in the next few years. And if I didn't know and I didn't have that positive assurance, then I wasn't going to necessarily waste anybody's time in that relationship. And there was no future. That's okay. We had kids in common, which I absolutely am the only thing that I'm grateful for because I would hate to have been one of those people that just had like, in the first place, I had kids out of wedlock, but then like kids with different men, like I no, I didn't want to do that. I when I did engage in a really well, and anyhow, that's a whole other story. It didn't matter. I didn't want to get pregnant again. I have my set. I'm happy. Um, and people that I meet know that, and I don't really waste anybody's time. I'm gonna leave it there. But I did actually, as I was listening to, as I've been like sort of like trying like brainstorming everything that's been going on in my head in response to what I've been listening to from what I see Joe Biden is doing. Um, I guess I'll just pick up with my first thought. Oh, yeah. I guess I just like the first thing that came to mind is one thing that struck me when Biden was speaking was that let me be. I'm being clear. Let me be clear. He didn't really say let me be clear. He said I'm I'm being clear. So, and then I just thought, like, actually, that's what Jen Psaki says when she comes out to the podium as his press secretary and speaks. And I'm thinking, well, wait a second. I don't know what Biden makes so clear to Jen Psaki that leaves everybody else boggled every single time. And I don't know what makes him think that because he makes things clear to Jen Psaki, that it should make things clear to everybody. It just doesn't, it's not clear. It's not clear to there's a lot of unanswered questions. And when you say, let me be clear, even if you're not using excuse me. Oh, I'm drinking again. Sorry. But I'm not on an empty stomach or anything. You know what it is? I just have like this sense of relaxation and I'm just like "Ugh." I'm just kidding. Sorry about that. That's so rude. I'm not gonna do it again, I promise. It's my corona. Well let's actually put that to the test. If I drink some of my corona, how long is it gonna take me to want to burp? I don't know. We'll see. And now I just actually remembered how when I was listening to a speaker was mentioning how Hitler had the same like style with his communication. He wanted to draw you in by speaking in a very low voice, and but inside there was like this fury brewing that eventually So he needs to captivate you. We're not living in the times of Hitler anymore. A lot of us know this. If you're literate as a plot, you basically take your reader through a set of stages that incites a certain feeling and that sort of thing. So he's definitely inciting emotions. He's not necessarily he's not necessarily like a caring person that wants to make a difference in the world, because if that was the case, he wouldn't, for example, trust in Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci is somebody that's actually like him, and they are basically accomplices to one another. They're like they have to answer to one another, because they're just as dirty. Like, well, hey, if you want to call me out on this, I can call you out on that. And so everybody just walks away, goes home, and everybody's happy. But they just keep driving everybody else down with them. And that's why I keep saying, like, this is no different than like a thuggish life. uh, this is supposed to be embarrassing. I'm not saying that because I grew up poor that I see, like, I'm projecting that on anybody. I'm saying that because I grew up poor and I saw these things, that it made me more experienced, and it made me more of an observer, and you know a person that uses precaution with people, like, that aren't being truthful and honest. Be truthful and honest. That's all it really takes at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't really, call me lucky because I was born poor and I can tell you exactly what I see coming. It's not like they didn't. And besides, I can tell you right now that Joe Biden is he's so simplistic that it almost, in anybody else's head that is not as angled and complex, think that he's like some kind of like secret agent that has more information, that wants to, like, is only intentionally keeping it from everybody else, so that, and that's why everybody should just obey. And that's just not the truth. He oversimplifies, and it's so dangerous for people that see him that way, that see him as being as some kind of trustworthy person that is oversimplifying things for our own sake. When it comes back to bite you in the butt, it's going to be very, like, detrimental to you, because that's when you're going to wake up and see, like, what true life is about. And unfortunately, is when I was in a relationship with a person that wants to play these games, whom, by the way, is a crack pusher, crackhead. I don't know. I know that he likes to be an evil person. I know that much. And that just means doing everything that's wrong and bad. And, um, I mean, I can protect myself, like, whatever. Like, I saw him through, like, his, like, next phase in life, and like, really, like, kept my distance or whatever. But you know what, people just have to fucking eventually go their own fucking separate ways. I'm sorry if I offend anybody about that. So yeah, nobody understands. Yeah, the whole authority thing was sort of, it's telling. It's like little clues about what's really going on in his mind. He's not necessarily speaking from the heart. He's a logical person. He's a person, he's calculating, and he's calculating on what the rest of us, what he thinks he can get the rest of us to do for his sake, for his enrichment and advantage and empowerment. And this is where the slap in the face comes: is you let him, you let him, we let him. And I'm sorry to say so, but everybody that he endorses and that endorse him are in the same road. They're on the same road. Some are just lost, like, I'm not going to start making excuses for anybody. Some of you are just willing to to use the rest of us and our time until you have the time that you need to convince yourself of the failure of a president that we have, as if nobody already knew that he was a failure of a person and a senator. I mean, just because he has a son that likes to shoot things up doesn't mean that he has to have the rest of us shooting stuff up ourselves all the time too, because apparently it doesn't end with the first shot. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, and it's like so I mean, that was supposed to be a joke, like like maybe it makes you feel better that the rest of us are also shooting up vaccines, baby parts, whatever it is. Here is what I understand about vaccines. Vaccines from polio and from everything that came before the chicken pox were from the adults that had the virus. And they cultivated that to create a safer introduction of that virus into your system so that you processed and became immune to it. That's not what's happening after the chickenpox. Okay, there's other things being going on, like Freaky Frankenstein stuff that nobody knows about because it could be gain the function. Gain the function? Who the fuck came up with that term? Who came up with gain the function? Like, what the hell is that? Like, gain the function. Like, did it start out like all low key? Like, yeah, gain the function. Like, I don't get it. Like, what? Like, it, just as confusing as these fucking bastards. Oh my God, my alcohol is kicking in. No, just kidding. It's not. So, okay. So he doesn't care. It might be too late. I did want to say, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is one thing. I know that another thing that he wanted to like mention in his speech was that he was basically gonna like cancel people that didn't obey. Like, you must obey. I have authority. I have authority. You must obey. Whatever it is, and whatever it might come. So I'm thinking, well, what about like people that just want to like tutor kids and they're not drunk? Like, I don't go to work drunk. So, but what if I wanted to tutor kids and I just said like, no, don't worry about it. Like, you don't have to have anybody like breathing down your neck so that they have to wear a mask. Like, come on, we can all take care of ourselves. I was just at the pool the other day. I mean, it's exhausting, and then you just have to like make sure everybody's happy. I kind of feel like I have to go back to the pool because I was like babysitting a little bit, sort of. But you have to make sure that everybody kind of is happy with the experience, and everything is back to like nobody's gonna harbor like hatred towards anybody. So I would volunteer to teach online. I mean, I have a degree. I've done some tutoring online. I'm on Wyzant. I can do Wyzant, and basically I just answer your kid's question and give them attention for as long as they need it, and try and explain things in a way that is relatable, like they can associate it to everyday life. Like that's kind of what learning has to really boil down to. You don't just absorb facts and then just never use them. So yeah, I wish I had been there more for my own kids, except of course, when you kind of things may just not get reciprocated back to you, and you know what, it's not too late. I'm there for my kids. I'm going to be a grandma soon, and I'm there for you know, for their kids, and from and they can learn from my experiences, and they're just a victim as I am with how things worked out with us. So so let's not get discouraged about that. Um, there's always a way to, you know, to learn and create a more I guess like real life experience, especially now more than ever, right? With, and we all know that, but you know, you're welcoming people into your home every time you make a video, and kids know that and they understand. Of course, with kids online, it might take it actually, wow, like it's even better really, because to keep somebody's attention on what you're saying like takes so much energy from the teacher. They're giving so much of their own individual time to that one individual, that that goes such a long way. So that's what I had to say about that as far as his speech goes. um okay, so I'm definitely like, um I've never been a person that gets pressured. um you know, like I wasn't the cool girl that doesn't get pressured. I was like the, like, don't try and figure me out. I don't have to give you fucking explanations, but I'm not going to go along with everything you say. And if you try and bully or and peer pressure me, you're going to find out really fucking quick that I don't give a fucking big fat ass. So so that's kind of how that worked out as I was growing up. Like I just don't care what people want me to be or say about me, or you know, if I was born poor or anything like that. You know, I had a lot of really good people around me, and for every one good person I had around me, I had about 10 really bad ones around me. So but you know, but really it just comes down to, um at the end of the day, is when something bad happens to you, is not to necessarily put it on the individual or the person. I think it is really important to put it more on God's plan, and the fact that there is a spiritual war, and some people around me are going to be very weak, and they're going to want to bring me down with them, and I'm just going to have to fight them off, and that's just going to have to be, you know, the way things play out and go, and then that's going to be fine with me. I mean, people are going to waste their time, and I'm going to you know, just wonder, like, but I'm dealing with idiots that are weak, so what am I supposed to do, you know? All right, well, um so yeah, so that was basically it. I'm going to listen to the rest of the news, but um yeah, vote. Don't vote for people that are your friends and that make you feel good and that are going to give you free stuff. And you're going to be like on the gravy train with them, like, you know, one of those plastic girls, or like buying presents, and you're going to be so rich. Start buying presents. No, no, vote for people that are going to keep you on the narrow, on the straight and narrow. My enemy was saying on the wide and narrow. Nope, it's straight and narrow. My enemy, straight and narrow. So so do that, and then also be there to because that allows you to think about other people. If you're not staying on that road, you're only thinking about yourself all the time, and you're never going to know what life is all about. So if you stay on this road, is you're committed to some, you know, to something and someone that is going to create the types of environments where you can thrive with values, with principles, and it just makes fighting for something so much better and easier. You know, you don't have to be scummy, and wear masks. Like I mean, I've egg bombed before, but I mean, come on, please. In my defense, this involved my kids as a mom. I mean, something had to be done. Okay, jeez. And I didn't wear a mask, by the way. Okay, so that was it. I'm gonna stay away from the Bible for now. I sense that Jesus is near. I sense that he's close. I sense that because I believe in the Trinity, I know that the Holy Spirit has been here, and all you have to do is seek the Holy Spirit, and he's there. Jesus is like a whole, like, ties it all together, and it's just like incredible. Um, eh, I can't rob anybody of their own experience. My experience could be so different, but it's like nothing you've ever. It's like you know that nothing that has happened to you in this world that has disappointed you or hurt you is ever going to happen under his guidance. You just know it. Like it's just like that strength. Like so, so open yourself up to that. Forget people that don't believe. It's just really not that people. I'm not an evangelist. I didn't grow up an evangelist, so I just don't have that training anyway. I grew up with people that were Catholics that were trying to get me to be like a Catholic, and I'm like, okay, yeah, and like she's a fucking whore, and I'm like, what the fuck? Sure. I mean, how disappointing, right? Either way, that's besides the point. That's besides the point, Narita. Like, don't be all upset because you're a hoe. Um, I told their mom too. I was like, I don't cover for these bitches. I'll drink to that. Okay, so and anyway, um, yeah, I hate that. I hate how like they have to be like a part of like my religion, in my but they're not because and this is exactly what I was getting to is you have your own separate individual and particular relationship with Jesus. But Jesus is it. Jesus is the person that is going to be there for you when these mother fudgers, I said fudgers, um aren't there for you. And I'm not just referring to like the day-to-day thing, where you're gonna meet somebody that's like ugly or anything like that. Like, oh, he's ugly, oh, he's gonna be, because you can handle yourself like through that, right? You just, you gotta fucking like stand your ground, like be tough a little bit. Um, but I'm referring to what moronic, uh, just fucking self-centered, like don't give. I seriously feel that Joseph Biden has something to hide. Nobody behaves that way unless they have something to hide. Like nobody wants that kind of power unless they want to. Who did something of like who of us, the rest of us, did something so wrong to him that now we're all punished for it? Nobody. It really just is like something that like is not something that we brought upon ourselves. Is something they are bringing upon themselves, and then just want to drag us all down with them. And when it is, and when it does come to the point where it gets like nuclear war and that sort of thing, I'm telling you, Jesus is going to be there. He's there for me. I don't want anybody else. um I want, when I'm with Jesus, I want everybody that wants Jesus too to be somebody that I like am a part of that big embrace, that I meet in that embrace, and that's it. But it's a choice and it's an option, and it's something that I've educated my kids to do. Like, don't think about anybody else, think about yourself, think about in the first place educating yourself, but also doing the right thing and doing and living in a way that is how God expects you to live, how God um laid out for you for your own good, not for his, for your own good. And when people have a problem with that, unfortunately, is they are going to try and sink the rest of us down. And that's why there's those passages about the 10 virgins, and people are going to try and come and trick you, and they're going to want to ask you to go and get something for him. And you're so good, you've been waiting, and and you're going to be tempted, like, yeah, I want you to go too. No, don't go. That's what that passage means. Don't go. You're already ready to go to with Jesus. Like, stick to that, and then just only think about yourself. And that's the best, really advice that I can give you. um Prayer is good. There's a lot of videos out there. I don't have one in particular, but look up good, like, Christian videos. Even some Catholic videos are good. Like, the masses are good because when they're heartfelt, they're really good. But make friends with Jesus, make him your best friend, and believe me, he's gonna accept you, like, no matter, like that, just like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, guys. See you later. Bye.